I feel like the biggest barrier to mass adoption is the insurance industry. It doesn't cover a lot of this stuff.
I hear that every day. To get the best healthcare on the planet, you have to utilize all of the medicines. When given that option of, I want to get well versus I just want my disease to be managed and be sick, they're going to choose, I want to be well. Now, unfortunately, the insurance component doesn't cover that.
All right, guys. Dr. Greg Eckel here today. Excited to talk brain health with you. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you.
How's your trip in Vegas been?
It has been a whirlwind.
Yeah.
Yes.
We had a good conference last night.
This, the Biohack Yourself documentary is launching, and it was a to-do.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. There's a lot of the top world's experts in that documentary. I've never seen something like that.
It is. The Lollies have collected such a great assortment, and I love their discernment of picking who was actually in the film.
Yeah, what was their process for that?
You know, I think it was word of mouth and, connecting with the connectors, and it spread like wildfire.
That's cool. What's been new in the brain development world?
What's been new? Well, we're getting ready to publish on Parkinson's reversal, which when you say that in conventional land, they look at you like you're crazy.
If you say that on certain platforms, they delete the video.
They do not allow that message to come out. Yeah.
That's a shame though, right?
It is. And that's a component. I really thank you for having me on to help share that with people. You get these diagnoses with neurodegeneration, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, dementia. There's not a lot of hope for the patient nor the family. In fact, there's a lot of fear around it. And we're making a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember growing up as a kid and hearing Alzheimer's and Parkinson's is irreversible, right?
Yeah.
And you should not question that. So times are changing.
Times are changing. We're living at an amazing time in history where we're right before this hockey stick goes up. The first tenet of longevity is don't die. And so in this next 10 years, there is going to be such innovation and change coming to us that it's just a great time to be alive.
Yeah. Were your studies on this done on any humans? Because I know you start with rats usually, right?
Yeah, no, this one, I'm a clinician's clinician, Sean. I've been in practice 25 years as a naturopathic provider and Chinese medicine practitioner. And currently coming at you from Park City, Utah at the Energy for Life Centers. We have people, these folks with this diagnosis do not have time to wait. The innovation, we're in a weird kind of transition time in research, I think. The old institutions of the one element, one change, and then measure, it is so laborious and it's slow. And with the addition of AI and these platforms, we're able to, I'm hoping to expedite the change.
Yeah.
So I actually have, I have real people. We
Nice.
are working, one, it's got to be, the first tenet of medicine is do no harm. So it's got to be safe. There's got to be research on the therapies. And then I'm collating them in the right order and stacking them. And I created the Eckel protocol for brain regeneration.
Nice. What does that look like? What's the timetable? And
So we use Energy for Life Centers is a bioenergetic center. So we're using all of the realms. We're using the frequencies. We're using your biofield. We're using your biochemistry. So we do a lot of the methodology is detect, correct, and thrive. And it doesn't just have to be for pathologies, although we are showing neuroregeneration. We're showing people getting their brains back. I have DAT scans, which is a radioactive dye that measures into the substantia nigra, which is the portion for Parkinson's, consistent with Parkinson's. After our Eckel protocol, substantia nigra consistent with the person's age. They're off all their drugs and have no signs of the disease.
wow, that's crazy.
It is. It's very humbling. People are traveling in from around the globe for this program, and we're utilizing sound. We do sound bowls, put people into a heart rate variability and heart coherence. It's a deep state of relaxation as the body can heal from that state. So many people are running around in their limbics.
All right, shout out to today's sponsor, Specialized Recruiting Group. Navigating the professional job search is hard. You know the perfect job is out there, you're just not sure how to find it. The good news is you don't have to go at it alone. You just need Specialized Recruiting Group. Connect at srgpros.com. We're here to guide you and help you find a role that fits, all without costing a dime. Meet Specialized Recruiting Group, offering a tailored approach to find your next role. Go to srgpros.com and get on the right course. Your local Specialized Recruiting Group team knows which businesses are hiring and can offer you a path to contract and full-time roles. Don't see the role you're looking for on the website? Well, they also recruit for confidential roles, so give an office near you a call to learn more. Take the next step in your career by starting srgpros.com.
Systems in fear or fight, flight, or freeze, their sympathetic nervous system. You can't heal there. You can't access your greatness. You can't access your frontal lobe and envision a totally healed, totally whole self in the future. So we start there. We start with limiting beliefs. We start, this is a dangerous neighborhood to go into by yourself, right? Yeah. So we start there. What those thoughts are is your cells are listening to every thought you have. So hopefully it's loving kindness, it's peace, it's healing. But most of the time, we know from adverse childhood experiences, the ACE scores, no one gets out of here alive, Sean.
Right.
It's a whole component of trauma. We have trauma, whether it be big T, little t, that is an underlying process for neurodegeneration. So we've got to address that. Then we bring people from the sound bowl room into the procedure room where we're running frequencies like Skenar technology. We use a device called the My Health device. We're playing the bowls. We say intentions into a laser activated and guided stem cell procedure.
Wow.
We do an intranasal procedure and a systemic procedure.
Intranasal. So you're shooting something up the nose?
We do. Yes. We use a flexible catheter, no needles involved, but it's a great route of administering the cells to get them into the brain. Also, the innate intelligence, that's really what I say I do all day. I do a lot of nothing all day. It's really the innate intelligence and the information coming in. So we're supercharging the body to help it heal itself.
Wow. Damn, you're doing a lot there.
There's a lot.
That's fascinating. So it's not just one thing. It's like a series of...
No, that's what I was saying in that, the old style of research, it's one item. And, when you're talking about regenerating the brain and central nervous system, you're needing some momentum, right? You have this 800-pound gorilla called disease process, and you've got to get the teeter-totter moving. So you lay everything on the other side of that.
That's incredible. The sound bowls I'm fascinated by. It was a full moon yesterday.
Yes.
And I've been looking into sound bowl healing on full moons.
Excellent.
Because the full moon amplifies it, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, you look, there's so many things there, especially with frequencies. And I was checking out, the other guests that you've had on the show, and you definitely have delved into these topics. And we're bringing that into the procedure room, into clinical encounters, and into discussion. We all walk around with these supercomputers in our pockets, and it's like, well, how does the information get there? It's traveling in frequency that we can't see. Well, these things are the magnificent supercomputers. I mean, these are the original quantum computers, our bodies. So it's, clearing the obstacles to cure, getting the energy running, and then you put the bowls in there. Well, one, it's crystalline sound. And then there's a note, which has another frequency. And then there's usually a precious metal or stone in there that also has its own healing qualities.
Wow.
That sound, I was doing research this last year. I spoke at the AMMG, the Age Management Medicine Group, and they almost didn't let me talk. And this is an alternative group or more of an integrative medicine group, more open to it, but it was all on the future of medicine as frequency, sound, and light.
Wow.
And you look at our mitochondria in the cell, they are receptors. We knew they were receptors for light, but they are also sound receptors.
Really?
So that vibration, that frequency comes through, hits resistance in our tissue, and starts vibrating every cell. Now, I learned about this early on in my career. Fabian Maman is an acupuncturist. and he was a past symphony member, and he was playing. He built beds in the key of C, the key of A, and he would show in the research that certain notes, pure notes, would have our cells, normal cells, flourish and shatter cancer cells. And so just taking that was like 20 years ago. So bringing that full circle to today, we're really bathing the body. A lot of people, have you ever had a sound bath?
I haven't. I want to try it.
Well, next time you're in Park City, you'll have to come in because we have one of the world's largest collections of crystal tone bowls.
Oh, yeah?
We have gongs, rattles, etc. We host them for the community up there.
That's incredible. I can't wait. Yeah, I usually don't fit in a bathtub. Too tall.
Yes.
I was doing some devices at the conference.
You don't have to take your clothes off.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Wow. So you get in there fully clothed.
Yeah, well, it's a room. We just do it in the room. The sound, you're bathing in frequency.
Okay.
That's the whole concept.
My friend in Vegas goes to these oxygen baths. Have you heard of these?
No, I have not.
Yeah, it's a tub of water, but they put like a bunch of oxygen in it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so that's interesting, the power of oxygen to heal the body, right?
Oh, yes, and that is part of the Eckel protocol. So we utilize, we have nano-V technology. It's a structured water that you inhale that shows it reconstitutes your proteins. That's the basis of a lot of these neurodegenerative states are misfolded proteins. And, I think why there's been no major breakthroughs there in neuroregeneration. No one's really talking about prionic activity. What is that? I mean, don't glaze over, folks listening and watching. Back to 9th grade science class, proteins misfold due to traumas, environmental toxicity, along these lines. And this is like mad cow syndrome in people. We all, I think, have heard of mad cow syndrome. So that's like Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease in humans. It's tau proteins in Lewy body dementia. So all of the neurodegenerations have a misfolded protein associated with them.
Wow. And you're able to unfold them? Or?
Well, that's what we're looking to do. Yeah. So with the resolution and reversal of these conditions, that's what's happening. Yeah.
How common is Parkinson's getting these days?
It's 1% of the population in the United States, and it's 2% in the state of Utah where I live. So
Whoa.
Utah has a higher percentage of people with Parkinson's. And, we don't know. I think it's there's multiple causes that we see. It's not agreed upon where it's coming from. I think it's coming, 10 to 30 years prior. It's coming from the gut. It's coming up the vagus nerve. 90% of your vagus nerve is bringing information from your periphery to your brain so that you can stay in a homeodynamic state. So it's like things that we're just not taught how to listen to our bodies.
Right.
And so we ignore. And so there's an accumulation of the innate intelligence just keeps saying, give you symptom, give you symptom, give you symptom, pay attention to me, pay attention to me, pay attention to me. And eventually it'll just keep turning that dial up until you really pay attention.
Yeah.
And then you have no other choice.
Yeah, 2% is pretty high. And that's just diagnosed, so it could be even higher.
Yep.
And I feel like, is that including Alzheimer's or are those
That's
separate?
just Parkinson's. Alzheimer's stats and dementia it's even worse. It's predicted by 2030, 50% of the population over 65 years old will have some mild cognitive impairment.
Damn.
Or dementia.
Yeah. That's super high. So coin flip.
50%. Yeah.
That is concerning.
Yes. And so, the good news is there's a lot to do. It's just you're not hearing it from, on high. It's not coming from top down, and that's why we're out, bringing this message to your listeners and viewers.
It's needed, yeah, because if you go the Western route, they're just going to give you a pill, right?
There's nothing for dementia or Alzheimer's. The medications that have been approved by the, I affectionately call them the FDA, only give you about a month or two, and you can't come off of them. They're very expensive, and they really do nothing for quality of life. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really concerning. Most people can't even afford it, and the ones that can, it's not effective.
It doesn't do anything.
They don't treat the root cause. That's the problem.
That's right.
That's why I always gravitated towards Eastern.
Yes.
I know living in the U.S., it's like a hot take, but
yeah,
I like Eastern medicine.
Well, yeah, and naturopathic, I'm here with that message as well. We've been around, before 1930, there was more naturopathic medicine in the United States. It's a very eclectic bunch of providers out of Germany, worldwide, more traditional medicines, and I'll call that traditional medicine of the herbal medicine lifestyle, healing with hot and cold water, etc.
Right.
Oxygen therapies. That was the other component of what we have in the Eckel protocol. You had mentioned this oxygen bath. Well, we do hyperbaric oxygen as well. Putting the body under pressure, and then breathing 90 to 100% oxygen drives oxygen into the body. It goes from high concentration to low concentration, and it helps the body heal. We're charging the body battery.
Yeah. I had a TBI. I got a scan at Dr. Amen, and
Yes.
It went away after a year of oxygen chambers.
Excellent.
So
yeah,
those are
that's
really
a great
effective.
way. And, again, it's the same methodology to heal the brain. Oxygen being a big one. I've been doing, hyperbaric oxygen for 25 years in my centers. And it is, we have one in our living room and we have 3 in our center. The center is 6 minutes away. And the kids say, the center is just 6 minutes away. It's like, yeah, but it's much easier when it's in your living room.
Facts. I feel like the biggest barrier to mass adoption is the insurance industry. It doesn't cover a lot of this stuff.
I hear that every day. And if we look at our car insurance, does that cover everything for our car?
No.
Now, what do we have to? We have to replace the oil. We got to do the upkeep. We got to change the tires. We have to pay for the windshield. All of those things are on us. And I think we've been sold the wrong bill of goods, right? I think insurance is important.
Yeah.
If you need your life saved, do not come to my center. If you have an acute crisis, an accident, your bone is broken, we need Western medicine. There's a great, my moniker is where East meets West naturally. To get the best healthcare on the planet, you have to utilize all of the medicines. And the insurance component, we're mandated to pay for it. I think we should be able to choose what we get. I got out of the insurance gig. When I first started, I did 10 years of insurance billing. Then I did a hybrid, and I realized, there's this third party sitting in the room here telling me what I can tell you and what I can recommend. And I kicked him out of the room. I said, this is it. And what I found, most people, when given that option of I want to get well versus I just want my disease to be managed and be sick, they're going to choose I want to be well. Now, unfortunately, the insurance component doesn't cover that.
Right.
It doesn't pay for your they're not going to pay for your wellness. They're not going to help you get better.
They don't want that.
They don't. It's look, they got a residual, like a monthly payment from everybody, goes to the drug company, goes to the insurance company.
Right.
And there's nothing in there to say, let's get you better. And I had this epiphany. I'm from Western Pennsylvania, Johnstown. It's called Eaton Park, Eaton Park. And tons of food, all you can eat buffet. I'm sitting there with my kids, my Aunt Joan, and I'm looking around. I'm like, wow, everyone is overweight in here and they're eating a lot. And it wasn't organic. It wasn't nutrient dense food. And I thought, this is criminal. We're treating people like products. How much food can we shove down their gullets? How many drugs can we sell them before they get to the grave? That is not living. I'm really excited for the change that's coming here. It's very high promise. I hope we can actually actualize it of making America healthy again. It is so exciting. This is the first time in my career where I actually felt like we have a voice on the national level to change the discussion rather than having big pharma own our airwaves, programming the mind from the television, etc., where we can actually talk about the things that matter, like clean food, clean air, clean water.
Yep. Yeah. Shout out to RFK.
Yeah.
I like what you said about programming too, because that's the daily thing that people are exposed to.
I think they should just outlaw direct-to-consumer advertisements.
We're the only country in New Zealand. We're the only 2 countries that allow it. So
it needs to stop. Look, they own the airwaves. They clearly censored over the last 4 years. So that needs to stop.
Yeah, I like how he's questioning the vaccine stuff too.
Yeah, we just want research.
Yes.
Like data, like that's the component. Like really need to run the other way if you ever hear the science is settled, because that's not the scientific process. Science is a process. The biggest thing that I advocated for is curiosity. Can we just know, like, what's wrong with that? Can we run the studies? Because when you really push on it, they're not there.
Yeah. It should at least be able to be questioned.
Yes.
Because I remember growing up, like they pretty much forced us to get everything.
The dogma. I mean, you're not even allowed to question it. And, the component in 96 when Reagan made the Vaccine Safety Act where you could not sue a vaccine manufacturer, then you get Bill Gates saying this is the most lucrative business on the planet because there's no liability. Well, if you have no liability, guess what happens? Right?
You cheap out on everything.
Yes.
Right?
And there's no reason. They're just banking on it. And we're talking about the health of children, our kids, ourselves. We have in 2015, there was a flu vaccine shortage. And I wrote an editorial for the Oregonian up in Portland, Oregon. And people were freaked out. Like, I don't have a vaccine. It was like, well, you actually have an immune system. You have an innate intelligence. Like, you were given, we're perfectly whole here that you can actually manage that. We've managed people through my centers, HIV positive, no immune system, get pneumonia. You're supposed to die from that. We actually have survivors because there are different facets of your immune system that you can activate. All of that knowledge isn't common, but that is the training that we've received. And that's what we've put in now 25 years later. I feel like I'm just getting started in medicine, Sean.
Yeah, that's incredible. Props to you for sticking with it for this long, because back then you were probably made fun of and ridiculed way more.
I mean, do you see these lumps on my head?
25 years ago. That's when I was born. That's crazy. Now it's like more accepted, but even today there's still some critics.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And, look, we want research. We use the evidence, right? We're evidence-based. I'm actually creating a database on the back end of the 25 years of clinical practice. And we're creating that as the safety zone. Then we're going to duplicate it, put AI on it.
Ooh.
And I've got AI, I've got the APIs coming in from wearable devices. So I wear the Ultra Human Ring, continuous glucose monitor, your Apple Watch, all of that data, plus the labs. And I've got clinicians then coming in on this platform so that we can actually get better, faster results. Prompts my clinicians in the centers around, hey, have you considered this? Have you considered that? We've got the up-to-date research in there as well so that we get the best outcomes for our patients.
I love that. I love how health companies are integrating with AI, because I got a scan at Prenuvo the other month, and a lot of these scans are kind of like subjective. If you show it to 100 different doctors, they'll have different opinions. But with Prenuvo, they have AI to review it.
Yes.
So there's no like emotions involved.
Right. And it's coming because the patterning, that can pick up so many patterns that our human mind can't bridge. And it's way more sensitive. So we're seeing that on all kinds of imaging. I want to put it in a functional, integrative sense so that we can actually maybe find some new cures, a faster way of getting it done.
Yeah. There haven't been any major cures recently, right?
No. In fact, you're taught in medical school you cannot say cure.
Oh, you can't?
You cannot.
You can't say it on certain platforms.
That's true. It's true. And, I think that component and why I say I do a lot of nothing, it's the innate intelligence healing itself. That is the truth. We should maximize all of the facets, whether, the lifestyle stuff isn't sexy, but it is the stuff that moves the needle.
Right.
And then you can then put on the fancy bells and whistles, right? Everybody wants to do the coolest, flavor of the month. Over 25 years, I've seen a lot of flavors of the month come and go.
I bet.
And the things that stick and actually move the needle is really, it's the connection, it's the heart-centeredness, it's actually being seen, heard, acknowledged, and then helped, right? Supported. It really, I have a red pom-pom on my desk, Sean. We see people from around the globe, telemedicine-wise, and I'll actually cheer for them. I know it can be quite lonely with some of these diagnoses, and there's not a lot of support. It's basically, here, take your drugs, see you next year.
Right. And that's what I've realized talking to people like you, Dave Asprey, and all the top biohackers. The healing part comes from the body. You just got to activate it, figure out how to do that.
That is it. So remove the obstacle to cure. So get to the root cause. There's multiple roots in. Why I wore a fractal shirt for you today
I love it.
is you go in on the level that resonates with the person. You know, there's not just one path to Wellville. It really is what makes sense to you. Like, and to give you a for instance, you know, I can treat your whole body on your ear. It's auriculotherapy. There's a point that will treat everything on your body. There's Korean hand acupuncture, same thing. Japanese hara diagnosis on the abdomen. So I could treat your whole body on your arm.
Really?
So it's the macrocosm and the microcosm aspect, you know, and these are concepts that I know, like Robert Grant came on here and was talking about that. And these are ancient concepts that we're bringing into clinical therapy now. So it's, you know, the other component for the Energy for Life centers is we say cutting edge therapeutics through an ancient lens. So with the Chinese medicine background, what I love about it is there's no word for mind body medicine. It's all heart centered. And that heart is the portal. That is the healing. And it's, you know, how do we heal our heart? How do we drop in, heal the mind, heal the body, drop into the heart space and create from there to have more love come through in this plane of existence. That's what we all want. We know it. You know, it's like what our hearts know and desire. That's where we're going.
Yeah, and that's a big thing you work on, heart and brain coherence.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, yes.
Connecting the two together.
That's right. Yeah, with heart rate variability, a lot of these do you wear any wearables?
No, so I'm weird with that stuff because of the EMF. Like, what's your opinion on that?
Well, you can turn it off. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to have the Bluetooth on. It's very low emitting, but you can turn the Bluetooth off, and then you know you get the data when you just put it on the charger. So you can totally eliminate.
So maybe I should start then.
Well, it's up to you. You know what gets measured gets changed. It's interesting, right? You know, we come out of what gets quantified. You know, the quantified self. But I think it can really help move the needle. You know, in particular with sleep. Sleep is such lack of sleep is now the new smoking.
I heard that.
Most people aren't smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day anymore because the evidence is in guess what? That's not so good for you.
Yeah.
Well, sleep, same thing. And so, you know, if it's a double-edged sword though. I don't want people outsourcing their agency or how they feel. You know, I think that's a component. So many of us are walking around in our gray matter of our brains and not in our bodies. And it's really the embodiment of getting back in there, like this vessel, the preciousness of the body in our life. You know, we take it for granted so much, but, you know, knowing so much about how the body works, there's so much mystery about it as well.
Absolutely. Speaking of smoking, you mentioned earlier, have you looked into nicotine at all? That's a controversial one.
Well, nicotine in particular, so the combustion of tobacco with the additives is really where the issue is.
Right.
And so we have nicotinic receptors in our body. Well, isn't that interesting? There's a plant, tobacco on the planet. You know, so I'm definitely a naturopathic doc of utilizing plants in a sacred fashion. We have nicotinic. It can improve your cognition. It's a nootropic, focus, etc. Now, it can also be addictive. So there is that aspect in our dopamine nation, you know, where there's so much engineering on creating addiction or keeping your eyeballs on a platform, etc. So the nicotine actually, it can be great for focus. I went on a meditation retreat in Costa Rica where I would do a spray of nicotine before sitting and chanting, and it was a really nice enhancement.
Yeah,
actually.
When Dave Asprey came on the other day, he gave me a patch.
Oh yes,
yeah.
That so I've seen Dave do that to many speakers before going on stage, and nicotine is very potent. Right. How did you try it?
I tried it. I did the 3 mg one right here. Let it bleed for like 20 minutes.
Got it.
And I felt more focused for sure.
Yeah. It it can also, if you overdo it with nicotine, you can get sweats, nausea.
Yeah.
You know,
he said that. That's why he didn't give me the 6
right. Right. It is. And I happen to be very sensitive to substances. And so I don't quit. I think we should be totally sovereign beings in ourselves. And, you know, call breath the breath of life,
right?
Prana chi. We actually are able to create our own energy in our bodies
through breath work.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
How does that work?
Well, with doing holotropic breath work of Stanley's law of Grove, through any type of breath work, box breathing, 4, 7, 8 breaths, all of those, it's just getting in touch of bringing, well, you think about it, you're bringing oxygen in.
Yeah.
You're eliminating carbon dioxide. That first breath starts the heart pumping when we come into the world. The last breath when we die, that's the end of when our spirit leaves our body. The breath is life. So oxygen, there's I was kind of joking around with some folks at the Longevity Fest this weekend, and I put it on my Instagram feed. Around the new revolution is clean air, of the air revolution. Like we're all talking about what we put into our minds, what we put into our bodies. And it's now, well, what are we breathing? Are we breathing clean air?
Because most likely you're not if you're living in a city, right?
Right. There's higher particulate matter. When we look in our homes, if you have carpet in your home, you may have more toxic air inside than outside.
Really?
Because we're bringing all of that in. One simple health tip is take your shoes off at the front door. Do not be tracking that into your house. Yeah.
And I used to hate that as a kid, but now as a homeowner, I agree with that one. I don't want people's dirty ass shoes all over the
That's
floor.
right. I mean, and you look at what's on the streets, it's a bunch of, bunch of crap.
Yeah.
Literally.
I got air filters in almost every room in my house. You think those are effective?
That is. It depends on which ones. But they are, I would say just start in the bedroom because you're in there, 6 to 8 hours a day. But yeah, you definitely want to be filtering your air.
Yeah, that's crazy. Is there ways to measure your air quality?
There are. It's, you're looking at what's in it. I think actually online, there's some great repositories on particulate matter in your city.
Okay.
There was a website, I think it did get taken down, where you could put in your zip code and see what was being emitted in the air.
I wonder why that got taken down.
Yeah, that one, it was such a great resource and it just went missing. Yeah.
Well, I remember when chemtrails was a conspiracy theory.
I know. It's really interesting that way, right? There's geoengineering, and now it's all of this stuff is now becoming more transparent.
Yeah, and there's aluminum that's being released in the air, which is...
Well, I measure heavy metals in all of our patients. So mercury, cadmium, arsenic, and lead. Aluminum comes up. Since Fukushima in Japan on the West Coast, we have a lot more radioactivity coming down, and it gets concentrated then in the grass, into the butter of the cows.
And that was 80 years ago.
Well, the Fukushima was not too long ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the last 20 years, yes.
Oh, okay. Damn, that's crazy, though. It lasts that long.
Yes.
So it doesn't go away.
Yes.
Is there any ways to get that out of the body?
Saunas, sweating, exercise along these. Now, on the radioactivity, there's just a half-life of that stuff that it will run its course. The metals, yes, we do chelation therapy. I learned early on with heavy metals, I had seen, in particular with Parkinson's, I saw a doc did a push of glutathione, IV glutathione, and this gentleman's became, all of his Parkinson's symptoms disappeared. And
wow.
I ran that on my first 5 patients with Parkinson's, and nothing happened. I thought, well, I know he didn't hire an actor to do this in there. And I learned in environmental medicine we should check for metals. Lo and behold, all 5 of them had metals. Now, not everyone with neurodegeneration have metals, but you need to rule it in or rule it out.
Got it. So you got to clear those out before you could heal?
That's right.
And a lot of people probably have metals. I'd say more than 50%.
Well, we store metals in our fat, and we could affectionately call each other fatheads right now. And so the brain is all fat. So we're looking at, it's a limiting factor. It's like you have a big hole in the bottom of your bucket that, you could put all the goodness up here. It's just going to run out the bottom.
That's interesting. That's good to know, though, because I take the glutathione supplement from Symbiotica, but I need to find out if I have metals.
You've got to test. And I used to split test between hair and urine. I recommend doing the urine test. So the pre and the post, there are, you've got to get the right provider that understands it. We've been doing it 25 years. When I split test, there's a certain component of the population that doesn't have the genetics to excrete the metals in their hair.
Whoa.
So it's not an accurate read there. I actually like to give a chelating agent and collect urine for 6 hours after.
Good to know. So urine's an important test. I've never done a urine test before.
Yeah.
I've done a blood test. I haven't done a hair test, but yeah, I think that's good to know for people watching.
Well, we should connect you up with that.
Absolutely.
The other component on metals, I just quick add is dental health and amalgams. Now, they're not always using mercury in those silver fillings. A lot of people are getting composites, etc. But I did learn early to address oral hygiene, and root canals are really deadly. Tooth extractions, right? You have a meridian that goes to every tooth root of your body. And I learned early, had a woman about 8 months into a therapeutic encounter, and it dawned on me, I never asked, like, have you been to the dentist lately? And she said, oh, no, but I have this root canal that I got to take care of, which is an infection at the nerve root, which was on her maxillary component. She had chronic sinusitis. And once we took care of that tooth, all of her sinusitis went away.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I am playing with the idea of getting mine out. They've tried to take them out for 10 years.
The amalgams.
The root canals.
The root canals.
Yeah.
So yeah, you want to go to a biologic dentist, and we have some good connects for you if you'd like.
Yeah. Because
you don't want to just do that willy-nilly, because that can make things a lot worse if you do it incorrectly.
Yeah. I think 2 of mine have penetrated the skin. There's a word for that. The gum, I mean. So they're through.
Yeah.
And then they all have cavities, so I should probably get them out.
Well, you definitely want to get that addressed, because for long term at 25, that will lead to some things that you don't want.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll definitely set that up. Thanks.
Yeah.
Please connect me after.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's important. I'm glad the root canal stuff's being talked about more, because just growing up, it wasn't even questioned.
No, not even questioned. And, this component of, again, your teeth are just part of your mouth. No, they're actually representative of your whole health. And so you look at it, the Chinese had this figured out long ago, of the meridians are running there.
Right.
And it's also the reflection of the quality of your blood in a Chinese medicine fashion. The teeth, the hair, the nails are all extensions of the quality of your blood.
That's interesting. Yeah, I've seen charts where each tooth is linked to an organ, right?
That's right.
So if you have a cavity on one of the tooth, it could mean the organ is suffering.
It could, yeah. And again, that's that microcosm, macrocosm, like I was talking about the ear and the hand and the belly, the arm, same thing with the teeth. It's this macrocosm, the global, in the microcosm, the micro, and you can go in and out, whatever level makes sense to you, and we can help your body heal itself.
Right. I've seen some people even with the eyes.
Yes,
look at your
iridology.
eyes.
Yeah, I studied that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, it's the 10,000 things. You can go just forever in, forever out. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, it's super cool. I've never done acupuncture.
You have not?
No. I was always scared of it growing up.
Every day, so for 25 years, I've been practicing acupuncture. I studied over in China at University of Chengdu, even went up into a region of Tibet called Kham. How did they figure that out? It's like every day, it's like, it is so, it's so sophisticated. You have pain on your right shoulder. I can put a needle in your left ankle and make it go away.
What?
Yes.
That's nuts.
It is phenomenal. It's like, here's the lights, and then the light switch is over there. Same connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the idea behind it is there's energy blockages, right? Causing the pain.
Exactly. Just like you get a kink in the hose and you're trying to water the garden, and what happened? It just pressure builds. Same thing with the meridians. Now, the meridians, there more and more research coming out on those, on the microtubules. Then we talk about the connective tissue and the fascia, and then the energy current running in there. That is super fascinating.
The fascia stuff is nuts.
Yes.
I had a guy on walk me through like 5 minutes of fascia movements.
Yes.
And I grew an inch. I felt incredible. My face cleared up. We took before and after photos, and I couldn't believe it.
It is. So that instantaneous change. It is so much fun, Sean, to have this knowledge and to be able to educate people about it, and to say, look, there's a different way. You just have to choose it.
Absolutely. You got plans for more centers around the country?
We do. You know, we have a lot of interest because of this database that we're creating. It's a very, that's kind of the goal of like, wow, that is a protected database with that information to create the change. And so we've got, there are plans for brain regen labs or brain regeneration centers, a lot of network in licensing the Eckel protocol. The way I look at it, there's way more suffering than anyone can handle, and we are way better together in a collaborative nature.
Absolutely. Yeah, Parkinson's is no joke, man.
Yeah.
It affects the whole family.
It really does. And, when you start talking about it, you'll know people that have it.
Right. Yeah, you said 2%.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's probably growing too.
It is. And younger folks are getting it now too.
Damn, yeah, because it used to be like when you're old.
You would think 60s, 70s, and 80s, and you sound like my kid, Sean.
Age is relative, right?
Yes, it is a state of mind.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Greg, it's been a pleasure. Where can people learn about you and the centers?
We are at energy4lifecenters.com.
Perfect. We'll link that below in your Instagram as well.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching, guys. Check out the links below. See you next time.